Welcome back to the Apatros review. In this episode, The Joker. No, not that Joaquin Phoenix film, a different film, The Joker, also known as Lethal Obsession. Hi there, welcome back to the Apatros review. I'm your host, Mila Sipka, and join me as I take you on a ride through the wild world of science fiction, action, and horror, all from my personal DVD collection of 1,200 DVDs, and a few Blu-rays and video games and whatever. In this episode, we look at the film The Joker, or in German, The Joker. No, I'm not talking about the Joaquin Phoenix film from a few years ago. This has nothing to do with Batman. This is actually a film that was a police thriller that was made in West Germany back in 1987, directed by Peter Maffay, an Austrian director who handled a few German films. This film was actually pretty notable for having German music legend and charity legend Peter Maffay doing his acting debut. Now, the film is known in Australia as Lethal Obsession, and these DVDs are kind of rare to find. Anyway, now this particular DVD was released onto a cheap bootleg DVD by Avenue One, as you can see, a label that owned by pirate company RBC Entertainment during the early days of the DVD era. Like this is like late 90s, early 2000s, infamous for their mediocre quality discs. Now for the story. West Germany in the late 1980s, police detective John Bogdan is on the case of a series of killings caused by a war between rival crime syndicates, using the assassin Dr. Proper, played by Michael York, as the executioner for both sides. John is also in love with Daniela Santini, the daughter of a local restaurant owner, who is also in love with John's partner. John is kind of aware of this, but doesn't seem to worry about it. But after getting caught in the bomb blast that kills Daniela's father, and costs him the use of his legs and his badge, John becomes a vigilante in order to track down the bombers, his path crossing with Dr. Proper, and the pair becoming quite acquainted in a shared dislike the local underworld's tactics. Now, West German police thrillers in the late 1980s, the dying days of the Cold War, and shortly before the fall of the Berlin Wall, were an interesting thing to look back on now in the early days of the 2020s. The genre is a prolific one, and each country has their own formula they like to stick to. The Joker, released in various places as Lethal Obsession, also in the title of this mediocre quality bootleg DVD from Avenue 1, is one of those and has some pretty remarkable players in the cast. Armin Mueller-Stahl and Michael York were in a number of these, and even though they were slamming it, they were giving a good sport and acting game. And for the hero's role, making his acting debut is German music and charity personality legend Peter Maffay, a soft rock musician who has a thing for children's charities. A really great person who has done a lot for society in general, even has for one of his albums played with musicians from all over the world. The Joker was quite intriguing to watch. I have something in affinity of films from this time period, given I grew up in it. And the story, while nothing particularly stand out or innovative, is filled with its fair share of curious things, like the culture of the time, the amazing use of casual nudity. In fact, some scenes have naked people, like strip clubs and stuff. They're pretty casual in the background. Some full frontals too. And intercrossing paths of the police in Underworld in West Germany at the time. And by the way, in the future I'll review Midnight Cop, also known as Killing Blue, an IP Patzak film that also starred Michael York and Armin Mueller-Stahl. Peter Maffay wasn't in that one. And curious amount of people went about their business during the day. A case in point, Peter Maffay is buying a coat that's called on his pager to investigate a triple murder, quoted by Dr. Proper. He rushes out of the clothes shop without paying for the coat, he simply forgot, and upon reaching the murder scene is challenged by a uniformed cop who tells him you have the company's name in your coat, the tag, to which Maffay points to the police logo in the uniform's jacket and replies, so do you. Maffay also tells his partner in that scene, your pistol is no use here. People these days use Kalashnikovs, and when they fire, it's like watering flowers. The idea of a police officer losing the use of his legs, albeit temporarily, they recover right when they need to, like right after an impressive stunt work scene with Maffay dodging killer vans for his custom wheelchair, is nothing new, but it's pretty decent stuff to watch a hero getting over his temporary disability. The acting is well rounded, with the actors being professionals at their game, even taking the time to add in a few quirks, like Michael York, conducting killings while wearing a strangely off-feeling trench coat and tennis shoes, and not to take the whole thing for a joke. If you want to get a feel of the late 1980s police procedurals, this is a good choice. Oh, and the music score is pretty damn sweet for the place. Time place. Now for the gore report. There's no gore, but there are some interesting killings, like the mob boss getting caught in his henchman's crossfire by accident. Now for nudity. Tiny Welch, that's Raquel Welch's daughter, shows off her breasts and her butt in two separate scenes, while hookers show their boobs, buns, and even the background full frontal on occasions. I assigned the Joker a C+, 5 out of 10. It's a passably intriguing time capsule curio from now distant locale. Peter Maffay's fans should pick this one up, but not from his bad quality DVD from Avenue 1, there's a very good quality Blu-ray that has recently come out, which I'll talk about later in this review. As for the DVD, this review disc is a cheaply produced DVD from Avenue 1, the most well-known label from pirate company RBC Entertainment, that was prolific during the early DVD years of the late 1990s and early 2000s, becoming infamous for their mediocre quality DVDs and disappearing a few years later. Now, the DVD presentation of the Joker, titled here as Lethal Obsession, I'll show you the cover in a moment. That's what it looks like. That disc is pretty much a dud on the technical front. The picture quality is consistent with pretty average quality VHS, with analog grain everywhere and there's general softness in the image. The contrast has been lightened, giving the picture a washed-out appearance, although not as bad as other Avenue 1 releases have been. The resolution is pretty cruddy. The background full frontal nudity in one early scene so hazy that making out will be a futile task, despite you seeing the gist of it. The stereo soundtrack is rather adequate for this one, and there are no subtitles offered. There's also no supplement here either, offered an Avenue 1 release of Midnight Cop has a Michael York biography on it. Now for that Blu-ray, it was released through Subculture, I think it's the German word for it. And it's a German Blu-ray. They don't really have no DVDs of this. And that Blu-ray has it's a good picture. Also the English and a couple of German soundtracks on it, 5 ones, one for the theatrical release and one for the TV print. And also a Hungarian mono. There's some interesting extras on that too. There's like press materials, alternate ending, and stuff like that. It's actually if you want to get the Joker, and it's actually a pretty decent film, a passable film, get that Subculture Blu-ray. You can find it on eBay and Amazon probably. I actually shop for eBay. And I mean, and if you're a Peter Maffay fan, this film is actually pretty decent. So Peter Maffay fans should get it. So it's actually pretty decent. So I hope you guys are enjoying yourselves, staying safe. The coronavirus lockdown that lasted for the past 8 weeks is now being lifted here in Australia. And, well, just enjoy yourselves, keep safe. And that's it for this review.